Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and I happen to have my mother with us today. Hi, mother, mama.
Hi, son.
So this all started off, I don't know, 51 years ago or so. You brought me into this world somehow, just magically, right?
Yeah, I just brought you pictures that showed you as a little fella.
Yeah, kind of weird. And here we are. We're sitting and chatting. Kind of a nice day today. The weather's nice outside. No real big plans today, other than fireworks later.
Before it gets to be 1,000 degrees
before
again.
before it gets to be 1,000 degrees. Yeah. Um, you asked me this morning, what do you got planned today? And I was like, well, nothing really now, but I got stuff later. I happen to have a Jeep event that we're going to do at the Wild Hearts Brewing in Hartsville, which apparently is run by some people that used to be in the band at New Spring.
Ah,
I didn't know that. I was mentioning to a guy that I work with, and he was like, that started off with two guys that were in the band there. They actually made it big as like a sort of a hard rock Christian rock group. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, check it out. And he types it up on YouTube, and sure enough, there they are playing. And I was like, oh wow. He goes, yeah, the guitarist and the singer,
yeah, I probably have seen
they
them
did a
then.
thing, and then they came back home and wanted to open up their own little place. And he said the food's really good. And he goes, I was like, okay. I said, we're supposed to have a Jeep thing. He goes, oh, you'll like it. They got a lot of parking there. I was
That'll
like,
be fun.
okay. So
That'll be
yeah,
fun as long as we don't get that evening storm like we had yesterday and the day before.
yeah. I mean, all of a sudden it was just downpour. It was crazy. But yeah, we're gonna do that, and then apparently there's Darlington is having some kind of freedom summer event. I don't know exactly what,
Hey,
but
if you swing by the farmers market, they've got the watermelon
the
festival.
watermelon festival is going on. Yeah. And tonight there's supposed to be fireworks somewhere. I think it's going to be at the track
Ooh,
because in the past we've seen this is like years ago, but I remember going with my youngest son out there, and we watched fireworks from across the street.
I'll be able to see them from my bedroom window.
You think?
Yeah, I get to hear the race every time they have the race out there.
But can you see it with the swamp there?
Probably.
Hmm. So yeah, fireworks tonight. Some people
Yay.
are doing because July 4th, I think, is on Friday next week.
It is.
So some people are doing fireworks a week ahead of time because they're like, we know people are going to be busy, blah blah blah. Let's just go ahead and do it now, and that kind of gives them an opening to, I guess, sort of celebrate and start off the summer in a lot of people's minds of no, we're going to celebrate the thing now, and let's
Yeah,
go ahead and do it.
we're gonna go see your Uncle Danny. And we've been promised a blueberry cobbler and cooking outside and a parade in Douglasville, and it'll be fun.
Is it weird that I think that fireworks are wasteful? I mean, don't get me wrong, they're pretty, right?
Right.
But the thought to me of I'm going to buy a thing and then set it on fire is kind of like I'm just going to set my money on fire.
And it's gonna be gone in seconds.
And ooh, that was it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be that way because I'm sort of booing everyone's yay, and I hate to boo people's yay because I hate it when people boo my yay. Like when you're excited about things and people are like, "Oh, I hate that," and you're like, "Wait, but I like it." I know that, I get that, but like also it seems extremely wasteful.
You know what seems better is when you went down to Disney Springs and you got to see the show
Oh, with the
for
drones,
the drones. To
yeah,
me, that is something you can use over and over again.
yep,
That is not wasteful. That is spectacular.
mm-hmm,
Drone shows, I think, are the way to go in the future
yeah,
because they're not wasteful. You're not just blowing them up and they're gone. You're not potentially setting something on fire.
mm-hmm.
And like you guys did with my grass at the Santee house.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't set anything on fire. That was someone else. I was videoing, I think.
You
I
might
didn't
have been
actually
videoing, but
I didn't set anything on fire. I was not a participant in the fire.
that thing that was supposed to
It was
go
your
off.
youngest son. All of it was him.
Well, set my grass on fire anyway. But yeah, I think drone shows are the way to go. I really love drone shows, and I love the different light displays they can have. But you know, fireworks are fun, but like you said, it's a lot of money, and then it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think about this kind of like I think about Coca-Cola, right? When we were young, Coca-Cola was something you got, I don't know, maybe once a month. And it was like,
Yeah,
oh, this is a good soft drink. I like this.
yeah,
And that was fine. But of course, Coke decided they wanted to have a big marketing campaign and sell people on drinking their Coke all the time. And suddenly you're drinking Coke all the time, and it's not good for you. And we're finding that out now. Fireworks is one of those things where you could go see some fireworks once in a while if it was 4th of July or New
Yeah.
Year's. Um, and then fireworks became more accessible. And now,
Every night at
on
Disney, there's fireworks
yeah,
everywhere.
every night at
Yeah.
Disney, there's fireworks, but also like even in your own neighborhood, sometimes you have a family that just wants to celebrate a birthday or
Yeah.
whatever, and they go, and now we're going to shoot off fireworks for the next half hour. And you're like,
Well, if a half an hour, if it
okay,
was only half an hour, that'd be one thing. But I don't know. In my neighborhood, they shoot it off till 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
yeah,
And then I worry about all the guys and all the people with post-traumatic stress disorder.
yep,
And they hear this sounds going off. I know that my brother has to medicate his dog heavily
yep.
when there's fireworks because the sound just causes the dog to go crazy.
Well, and on top of that, if you have to get up early for work, you're like, would you knock it off? I'm trying to sleep. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
my case.
Yeah. Well, I do get that.
Yeah,
And it's tough.
yeah,
And people are not respectful of the fact it's way after midnight and you need to knock it off at some point.
yeah. But it's almost like we meant for this to be a good time. We didn't mean for it to be used all the time, like kind of thing. Kind of like Coca-Cola, soft drinks in general.
Right.
Anything. I saw a meme this past week that said anything that has an advertising, any food or drink that has an advertising campaign is probably not good for you. And that's kind of true. I mean, there's no healthy food out there really that has a commercial.
Yeah, you don't see broccoli being
No,
dancing across the stage.
no, no, no,
No.
no Brussels sprout commercials. No,
No
no
carrots, no
chicken.
bell
Just as
peppers,
chicken. I mean,
cucumbers.
everybody you talk to about eating clean and healthy, they're like, yeah, I eat chicken dry, and I eat. I'm like, okay, but there's never a commercial about eating chicken dry.
Well, the best thing when your brother was growing up was Veggie Tales because it was about vegetables,
Yeah,
about broccoli and carrots and
it wasn't really
tomatoes.
about that. It was about Jesus. But okay, you found a way to spin it. I like that.
Yeah, but if you made it fun for adults, they might be
It
more
was it
willing.
was a cute show. It really was a cute show. It still is a cute show. Yeah,
Yeah, Veggie Tales.
VeggieTales should have its own theme park or something. I don't know.
I like Veggie Tales.
Yeah. So anyway, the real reason that I wanted to talk to you today was about your trip to Canada.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, because first of all, when you said you had to go to Canada, I told you, I said, as soon as you land, they're gonna like ask you about coming into the country, and you have to sing the O Canada song. And you were like, no, they're not. I was like, I'm telling you, it's a big thing up there. They are really proud about their Canada, and they want you to know that they're proud about their Canada. And they'll have it. Listen, it'll be like a teleprompter, like karaoke, but you have to sing it to show that you are going to
Well,
respect them
my
being there.
customs lady going in, if I'd sang "Oh Canada," she might have been a little nicer. She wasn't,
You didn't sing the song.
did not sing the song.
Yeah.
And her words to me were, "What are you here for? How long are you here? Are you with that other person?" I was like, yeah, I am. God, it was scary.
Oh, Canada. And she'd be like, I'm just kidding. Come on in. We're glad to have you.
On the way
So
back,
you should have done that.
I had a Texas person, and she was like, "Yeah, come on in." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
But also TSA, I mean, the flight, oh, Canada's airline, whatever, lost your luggage.
Oh dear God, Air Canada. I learned their motto is, "We're not happy till you're not happy." I got back. I got back way. I was supposed to fly into Raleigh Durham at like 3 in the afternoon. I finally made it to Raleigh Durham at 10 o'clock at night and had to drive from Raleigh Durham to Florence, South Carolina. And I'm going to tell you, it was a nightmare. And my luggage got delivered to somebody else that said, "That's not my luggage." And 2 days later, they finally found my luggage. And my friend that went with me, they didn't find her luggage for 3 days.
Did it have, I wonder if it had like those, like in the cartoons, those big stamps on the side that tells you
I
all the
don't
places it's
know.
been.
I don't know. One of the faculty members at Francis Marion University said her luggage went actually from Canada to Alaska before it got down to South Carolina.
Well, that's not that far. That's one state over or something.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And then I don't speak French. And so
I told you, you got to brush up on your French. You got to study some Japanese, some Mandarin.
I speak Spanish, but I don't speak French, and neither does my friend
You
that my
can't
other
call them
faculty
snow
member.
Mexicans. They don't like that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and they were given directions in French, and I'm like, I kept telling Gabrielle,
Je
I
suis.
said, one of us needs to learn French.
Mm.
Yeah, at least a couple of French words, but anyway, so
Je m'appelle
it was
Debbie.
interesting.
Yeah.
So you took French.
I took 2 years and I passed because the teacher thought I was hot. Because I did French like a redneck French. And it was like, Je m'appelle Joshua. And she was like, it's close enough.
Well, I don't speak
It was right
French.
after gym class. So like I was really hot and sweaty and I needed to like change my shirt and I didn't have time and whatever. It's just fine.
Yeah, well, I brought you pictures that confirm that you were a hottie.
Yeah. So whatever.
Right?
You know, thank you for passing me. I appreciate it, especially after I failed Spanish. Which is weird because I understand more Spanish now than I do French.
I know. And I excelled at Spanish and took Spanish in college and then took a remedial course when I went to Nicaragua to do a medical mission.
Well, I blame my failing Spanish on the young lady that was sitting in front of me.
Probably.
She was a very distracting person.
Yeah, you were easily distracted.
I was easily distracted as a teenager.
Yes, right.
And she totally distracted me from whatever it was I was supposed to learn.
Squirrel.
I just thought I need to impress this girl with how funny I am because, you know, that was kind of my thing. So
it still is.
Yeah. But anyway.
Still is. As since I called you the other night in the middle of a tornado and said, I was like, Josh, and you never answered. And then hours later, I call you and said, I just wanted you to know I was going to be underneath a tree under my house.
I called you did. Back.
But then I said, you might need to come over here with a chainsaw. And then my neighbor's trees up the road were knocked over. I know.
I don't have a chainsaw.
I know that now. But yes, a tree falling in the forest does make a sound.
Sometimes it's squeak.
No.
How do you know? You weren't there.
I was there. It was a crash. Squeak. It was a crash.
It could have been. But also, yeah.
Back to Canada.
Your first move needs to be 911 in case something happens. I'm just saying. That should be those people are on the ready. Like they're paid to be on the ready with the proper equipment and training and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And a team of people rather than just, you know, you were talking about the Marine Corps. The people ask me, they say, what did you learn most about being in the Marine Corps? And I tell them that they taught me that I can overcome more things than I thought I could do. I can withstand a lot of, you know, bad situations and still push through with whatever needs to be done. But the biggest lesson I learned was that we can do more than me, because they kept giving us challenges where there was no way you could do it by yourself.
Right.
You had to get help from other people. Kind of like picking up a table. Like if I picked up this table, it'd be really hard. But I can go, hey, give me a hand, grab that other side, and we can lift this table.
Right.
It's similar. So the biggest lesson that I learned from being in the Marine Corps was get together with a group of people, then you can accomplish whatever goal it is. But you have to be able to work together as a group. So again,
call 911.
911 has a whole group of people with a shiny red truck, and they have those little axes on the side and chainsaws and
you
know, 20-year-old men that are, you know, might show up with a shirt on, might not, who knows, but then they can save you.
Okay.
And then you'll have a memory.
I have lots of memories.
See, all your memories are tied into emotion. Right away, you'll have all kinds of emotions. You'll be like, oh no, I was scared. Then all of a sudden I was turned on. Then I was like saved. And I was happy. And man, it was just a change in my life kind of experience, you know?
Yeah.
And see, if I come over here, I'm just going to talk to you and you'll be like, so what are we going to do about this tree? I was like, I don't know. We should call somebody. That's a different memory, you know?
Right.
All right. So back to Canada. See what we did there? We just drove it right back around.
Back to Canada. So
you went to Canada to
do research,
try out their poutine.
Well, and to do research. Okay. So I went to Canada to do research on universal healthcare. You can read about universal healthcare, but until you talk to people there, you don't really know about universal healthcare. And I wanted specifically to talk to nurse practitioners because we've been fighting for full practice authority in South Carolina. We have a Senate Bill 45 and House Bill 3580 that we are trying to get passed so that nurse practitioners can continue to take care of patients. and do it without having to have signatures.
Who's trying to make them stop?
Ah, medical doctors, the
Oh,
AMA, the American Medical Association, the South Carolina Medical Association. Right now, doctors get paid about $2,000 a month to sign a piece of paper that they're your collaborative physician. And they can have up to 6 people on their license for full time, which means they're making $144,000 to sign a piece of paper.
that sounds like a pyramid scheme.
Does, doesn't it?
It almost sounds like a union of doctors who came up with this idea and said, you know what? I got a clever way for us to make money and we don't have to do nothing but sign a piece of paper.
I
That's what
know.
it sounds like to me.
Well, and then many of them have nurse practitioners that work in their office. So then they're not only making money off of them every month, but they're making money that the nurse practitioners are bringing in.
Hmm.
So,
I bet that's how they afford their sixth BMW.
always follow the money. And I'm still driving the same Toyota van for now 8 years that I've had. And
I know you could get a Jeep.
why get a Jeep when I got a son that's got a Jeep that can take me for rides? Right?
True. Very true.
And I can't work on them, and you can.
Although it is kind of cool to have your own Jeep because you can.
There's a lady.
It's like a giant Lego. You can build it however you want.
There's a faculty member at work that has a Jeep.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you. Yeah, hers is white with like waves on the side.
Oh,
It's cool looking.
oh.
Yeah, but she
Like
likes to
like
go
a beach Jeep.
Yeah, it's like a beach Jeep.
Mm,
But
cool.
yeah, I've been to her ride in your Jeep, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But back to Canada.
Oh, Canada. Something, something, something.
And so we went to Prince Edward Island.
Okay.
Which is like a far east part of Canada.
Did they name it after the current Prince Edward, or is that like a long time ago?
Long time ago.
Okay.
Long time ago.
I should probably Google that.
And it was beautiful weather. You would wear a winter coat in the morning, but by the afternoon you were in short sleeves.
You didn't need a winter coat.
Yeah,
You just got to move faster.
I can't move that fast. And we had a little toy car, from the steering wheel, I could touch the trunk, a little tiny car, and everything there's in kilometers. So I was like always watching my kilometer speed.
On a plus side, though, if it ever broke down, you just put your feet through like Flintstones and pick
That's
it up
what I thought.
and walk around with it.
That's exactly what Gabrielle said, that we felt like sometimes we need to put our feet down and just keep pedaling.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
It does help with parallel parking though, because then you can just go, kind of bump it with your hip and
you don't have any problem
slide it in.
parking the car because it was tiny. We parked in one parking area and we got out, and Gabrielle said somebody could park in the same parking spot and still be in place. It was that small.
Mm.
But we went there, and because of Prince Edward Island University, they have an NP program there, and I'm an NP director here in South Carolina. So we wanted to talk to the faculty there and wanted to see what they were doing. They only admit a group of students every other year because in Canada, there's very few nurse practitioners with doctoral degrees. At that particular university, there's 2. One of them, Dr. Lou, she got her doctorate in Texas, and she had been from Prince Edward Island. She went back to Prince Edward Island, and then she ended up practicing in Florida for a while and back to Prince Edward Island. And she's one of the faculty members, one of only 2. They only admit 12 students every other year. So they're not catching up with the number of providers. They're adding to providers, but no way you can catch up with only 2 faculty members.
Well, then how do they take care of their patients?
Well, that's the problem. In Canada, and these are Canadian statistics, it takes 77.3 weeks to get an appointment with an MD.
There's only 52 weeks in a year.
I know.
Wait, 77? That's a year and a half.
Oh my gosh. It is crazy how long it takes to get in with a provider.
I'm feeling really uncomfortable. Can I set an appointment? Yes. Let's see. December of 26, we could see you.
One man he had been airlifted from Prince Edward Island to Halifax. He had bypass surgery on his heart, came back, took him 4 years to get an MD. I said, well, what did you do for medicine? He said, well, I went to the urgent care place, which is another story. Went to urgent care, paid them $1,200. The doctor walked in, said, what do you need? He said, I need these prescriptions wrote the prescriptions, never listened to his heart, never tested his blood, and walked out, said, see you in a year. And the urgent cares there are open. You can sign in at 8 o'clock, doesn't guarantee you a spot, but they see people from 9 to noon or sooner if they've met their quota of patients for the day.
Sounds like you need to practice in Canada. I think if you could be off by noon every day,
I know, right?
that is kind of killer. I mean,
That's killer because
it's
I've worked half a
interesting
day and see
setup.
that kind of patient load.
Of course,
You know,
also you can't. There's a lot of things you can't do in Canada that you can do here, which is not great. But yeah.
what can you not do in
Oh,
Canada?
there's a whole list. You got to watch the TikToks. I get all my information from TikTok now because they're not being censored. They can talk about anything.
Well, the
I
nurse
think it's pretty
practitioners
wild.
there can do pretty much everything I do here.
Yeah,
And if they have that education,
all two of them.
well, on Prince Edward Island, there's actually 150 of them for 150,000 people. So
I mean,
that's
how sick are they getting? They're in Canada.
they're
They
getting
live on
sick.
maple syrup and dreams.
They have high blood pressure, they have diabetes, they have all kinds of same health issues that we have here in the
But they got
States.
hockey.
They're missing a lot of teeth, some of them, for playing hockey.
Yes, but also, do you need all those teeth?
It would be
That's
nice
a lot
to
of teeth to have.
it would be nice
It's
to
kind
have
of like
them.
flaunting if you smile.
But everybody I saw was wonderful and everybody was kind and
Sure.
trying to stay healthy because they don't dare get sick there.
You can't risk getting hurt.
Nope.
No.
Can't risk getting hurt, can't risk getting sick.
Yeah.
It's tough. And people said, yeah, you get universal health care, but if you need a CT scan, it's going to, an MRI would take 3 years or more to get an MRI.
Maybe their hope is that you just die before your appointment.
Probably,
That way they don't have to deal with it.
probably.
I bet it's all cost cutting effective like measures. You know how we can cut down on this? Let's just not do it.
Well, and their new
Hmm.
prime minister, Carney, is coming up in 2026 with a brand new
Oh,
Canadian
did he
health.
actually get elected?
He did get
Oh
elected.
God.
He did. And he has a new bill in 2026 called the Canadian Health Bill. And some of those things are hopefully going to be covered. Right now, they don't have any vision care, none whatsoever with their health care.
But you can order them on Amazon. You get glasses all the time.
Yeah, but
That should work, right?
yeah, well, it's kind of a
Does
hard
Canada
thing.
have Amazon?
They do have Amazon.
Okay.
They do.
So see, they can get glasses.
They have Amazon delivery, and there was a Walmart
Did you
like
know
half a mile from where I was staying.
that they also now have an Amazon Health where you can teledoc someone on Amazon?
Yes, in Canada, everybody in Canada has access to something called virtual health.
Okay.
Virtual health is computerized, it's telehealth, and it's virtually free for everybody.
Yeah.
So I asked some of the people there, well, I understand virtual health is free. Have you utilized it? The guy with the heart condition said, I ain't sitting in front of some computer with some stranger I don't know. And I said, okay. One lady said, I don't even know how to turn on a computer, much less use a computer.
How do you live in 2025 and
She was
not know how
80.
to?
She
Oh,
was 80 years
okay.
old. And the
She doesn't have
younger,
grandkids?
I don't know.
Well, I get it. Some people don't have kids. Whatever.
Well, and the younger generation tends to be okay with using virtual health,
Mhm.
but the older generation is not.
Well, the younger generation was taught not to talk in front of people with your face showing. So
Well, that's true.
yeah.
That is true. But virtual health is available to virtually everybody, but only until midnight. And their emergency
So
department
after
shut
midnight,
down
if
at
something
midnight.
happens, you just
Yeah.
got to tough it out.
Yeah.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah. And the smaller hospitals with emergency care close at midnight.
Mm.
So if you have a heart attack at 1 or 2 in the morning, you got to go travel about 45 minutes to a bigger facility.
On your moose.
Not on a moose. They have cars.
I know. I'm just kidding.
And they drive on the right side of the road.
Listen, there's actually a weird statistic that says that more Americans live north of the Canadian border than Canadians do, because a lot of the population density is down in that little area near Detroit,
Yeah.
where that's the majority of where Canadians live.
Listen, Montreal was huge. Montreal is a
It's a
big
metropolis.
city.
Yeah.
And so is Toronto.
Hmm.
And Toronto's the worst airport I've ever been in my life. 4 levels, 5 wings, 5 gate changes.
Because you didn't sing the song.
All because I didn't learn the Canadian song.
Yep. See, your whole experience
Yeah.
would have been different. They would have stamped your passport with a different little thing, and they'd have been like, "She's a good one. Send her on through."
Well,
Yeah.
the people I met there were lovely, and I got to see lots and lots of lighthouses and lots of lupine flowers that were gorgeous, and visit places that I will never get an opportunity to go to again. A rural health clinic out in Montague, run by nurse practitioners, and I think there's 2 or 3 docs in there. But if the nurse practitioner asks the doctor a question about a patient, they get charged $35 per question as a consultation fee.
That doesn't sound free.
It's not free. It's not
That's the
free.
idea of universal healthcare, right? It's supposed to be it's free, right?
Well,
And that wasn't that the thing that they told us back in the 90s?
but here's the thing to remember. In Canada, the GP1s, the general practitioners, are paid by the government around $300,000.
Ooh.
Okay.
What will that buy you?
Well, it's a decent salary in Canada,
Okay.
but they're paid $300,000 if they see 5 patients or they see 10 patients.
Oh, how do I do 5 patients?
I know, right?
Because that sounds way better. That doesn't sound like it's
Right?
such a hassle.
Well, it means you just take your sweet time and you go through your day, and
Okay.
you know,
So it's like a union, like I see, like they
and they do
contracted
have
a
a union.
price, and they
Yes,
say this is what we're gonna do, and you
yes,
guys deal with it.
and they do have a union.
Listen, I'm not exactly pro union, but it sounds like America needs to get their crap together with their nurse practitioners and form a union.
Well, in some states they do have a
I'm just
union.
saying,
In some states they do.
kind of need
South
to
Carolina
get
doesn't have a
together.
union. They're a fire at will state,
Yeah, good for us.
unfortunately.
Thanks for moving us here, by the way.
Georgia was worse.
I know, but we had other choices. Anyway, whatever.
Georgia's worse.
Here we are.
And there's always Mississippi, which is like the bottom of the barrel.
Listen, yeah, okay. I can't even argue against that. There's nothing to argue against. It's Mississippi.
Well, the bad thing here in South Carolina is the fact that the maternal death rate is 8th in the nation, and infant death rates are 4th in the nation. That's terrible. We can do better than that. We need to do better than that.
Mm.
I've spent my whole life trying to do better for people and helping people get better lives, for sure.
Mhm.
But looking at universal health care, absolutely not. No way. Not happening. Don't like it.
So if you were going to retire,
Yes.
I mean, hypothetically, what is the state that you think would benefit you the most financially? Because I've heard things about Florida talking about getting rid of property tax. They already have no income tax and they already have no inheritance tax.
Florida definitely would be the place to go.
But DeSantis is really pushing towards no more property tax.
Yes.
But I think the biggest reason for that is they have enough sales tax because so many people come there as vacationers.
They have so many tourists that
I think that helps
offsets
them
it.
more than anything.
Yeah. But look at the number of tourists we have at Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach and Sunset Beach. And
yes, but we also have an inflated government that just pads their pockets to
Oh.
shake hands and go, yeah, we're doing that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that infuriates me.
Yeah.
I'm all for term limits.
Yeah.
100% for term limits.
I mean,
But yeah, Florida has
Tennessee's
full practice authority for nurse practitioners, but I hate the weather in Florida.
Tennessee's
I hate the
another
bugs.
opportunity that has no income tax, none,
Yeah, but they don't
no
have full
inheritance
practice
tax.
authority.
Yes, but also you're thinking retirement here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Like if you were just going, you know what, this is nice. Like Tennessee's weather's decent.
I like Tennessee.
They do have those tornadoes that are starting to spawn up now for some reason.
I like North Carolina.
North Carolina's nice.
Dan and I had talked about moving to North Carolina until
The
they had
weather's a
the
little
big
better.
till they had that big hurricane, and then we're like,
Yeah.
eh.
But also you could live like towards the mountains of North Carolina and that's not so bad.
Well, Asheville
the
got hit
Hurricanes
terribly.
can't hit there.
Yeah, Asheville got destroyed. Chimney Rock got destroyed.
Yeah, but that, I mean, how long does that happen? When's it-
100 years.
what's it,
100 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got time. You got some time.
I do love the mountains.
Yeah,
The
I do
mountains.
too.
The mountains makes my heart feel happy.
Well, it is nice to breathe like I don't know what it is about mountain air. I guess it's because of the moisture in the air or whatever, but it just seems like it's less. There's less people. There's less people. Whenever people are around groups, large groups, lots of people, it's almost like the air is too thick to breathe because everyone else is breathing right next to you, and it's like, get away from me, don't touch me.
Well, having grown up in Chicago and then lived in downtown Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you I do much better when I'm out away from large groups of people.
Let's talk about air conditioning for a second
Okay.
because I want to take this on a weird tangent. Um, was air conditioning around when you were a kid?
No, no, you put a big box fan in the window, blowing the cool air in at night, and that's how you slept.
Right. But was it so bad that you were like, I can't even sleep, it's too hot?
It might be for about half an hour, but then it cooled down. And, you always had wind over Lake Michigan and it cooled the temperatures down at night.
And what
So,
about in Georgia?
oh, Georgia, um, we had air conditioning in Georgia.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we had air conditioning.
I was just thinking about the fact of, we change our environment a lot. We change our living conditions a lot to like make it supposedly better for us. But I wonder what harm it does for us when we're not necessarily designed to deal with it. But also, like, I know like your body adapts very easily to all sorts of environments. Obviously when you're in the water, you get wrinkly so that you can grip things a little better. Um, when you're in the sun, your body produces melatonin and things of that nature to kind of protect itself from the sun. Um, the heat is one of those things where I think of, you go to visit places where it's hot all the time, like in the Caribbean and stuff like that, and air conditioning is fairly new for them. Down here in the
But you
South,
always have that ocean breeze in the
right?
Caribbean area, Jamaica and Thomas Island, St.
But your
Thomas.
body gets accustomed to it to the point that it's like it's not a big deal. I wonder sometimes if we're setting ourselves up to be softer, and these things that are normal impact us a little differently
Well,
because we're
if you go to
conditioning
some
ourselves differently.
if you go to some older homes, the ceilings are 12-foot high,
Yeah.
okay? Because heat rises.
Right.
And they absolutely had the best idea to make those ceilings really high
Mm-hmm.
because wintertime you can heat stuff up, but
Yeah.
cooling
That's why we
down,
built our ceiling in there that way.
yeah.
No, we didn't. We didn't think about that.
Well, I know, right? Because you have air conditioning.
Right.
But I do think that it makes people less resilient because right now in South Carolina, we go from an air conditioned house to an air conditioned car, complain until it cools down.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you have to go to the store, it's air conditioned. And we live from air conditioned to air conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a storm that knocks out the air condition and you're dying. You're
Mm-hmm.
literally feeling like you're dying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't like to be uncomfortable,
Well, we don't like to be uncomfortable.
and the weird thing is as we are uncomfortable over time, we are less uncomfortable because your body adapts.
Well,
But it's like you have to be uncomfortable sometimes.
I think about your papa. Your papa used to go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning and he would work until lunchtime. He'd eat lunch, take a break until late afternoon, and go back to work, because he got used to the heat. And he said he was famous for saying he didn't sweat. He really got to where he didn't sweat very much
Yeah.
because he adapted to all that heat outside. Where you put me outside in that kind of condition, man, I'm going to have a heat stroke.
Yeah. I sweated an enormous amount this week.
You said you lost six
it was a little
pounds
hot.
just from
Yeah, not healthy pounds.
sweating. I know,
6 pounds
right?
of water that
Water.
I needed. So yeah, once I got fluids back up, they all regulated. But yeah,
That's a lot of water.
that was a rough day.
Well, you saw the umpire that died the other day because,
I heard about it. I didn't see
yeah,
it.
well, they had it on the news, but he was out in the heat and got dizzy and just kept trying to be an umpire and ended up dying from heat exhaustion and heat stroke.
Yeah,
Actually had a heat stroke.
that's unfortunate.
Hey, listen, the best summer I ever spent was when I went to Alaska for a month. I was like, yeah, Are you kidding me? You could breathe, you could walk around, wear a coat. Yeah, it was great. Then we came back to South Carolina. I thought I hit a wall of heat.
Yeah.
Sauna time.
Yeah. I do think it's important to be around like bodies of water. I think that helps a lot to cool off.
Yeah, I have a friend that moved to the beach and she loves it because she gets a ocean breeze every day,
Yeah.
every single day. But we
Well,
don't get that here.
the lady I bought that painting for you from
Yeah.
lives down a condo right near Myrtle Beach where she could walk out and walk right to the ocean. And she was like, "Yeah." She goes, my kids are grown. My husband and I, we sold everything up north. We moved down here. We bought this place. He passed away, and I got into painting. And she didn't start painting until she was in her 60s,
Wow.
and she was like, "And now this is how I enjoy my day
I love that painting. I look at it every single day. Women walking uphill with
in the rain."
umbrellas in the rain.
Yep.
Yep.
It's gonna rain sometime, and you just got to keep going.
It rained like crazy last night. I was glad. God does a better job at watering things than I do. My
Yeah.
flowers needed it for sure.
I want to tell you about my little experience last night. We went to eat locally here in Florence. I like to do like a local promotion of things on the podcast.
Yeah.
So this is stuff I heard. Here in Florence, we have a pizza place called Rebel Pie that I highly recommend if anybody wants to check out their pizza of the month. They have one right now called the Cuban pizza. It's just like a Cuban sandwich, but it's like a pizza, and it's really good. And the best part about the whole thing was not only was everything delicious, the price was cheap. It was like $15 for a pizza, and it was good.
They have a pizza there named after a friend of mine, Dr. Jane Madden. It's called the Dr. Madden pizza. And it's made with whole vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, has a cauliflower crust, and
It's like a
but it
vegan pizza.
but it's healthy. It's a
Oh,
healthy pizza called the Dr. Jane Madden pizza.
cool.
Yeah. And then I understand y'all went to Rita's.
We went to Rita's, which is right next door. You can actually park and go to both places. Rita's is a little ice cream place that makes custard, frozen custard, which is Dolores
Mm.
kept asking me. She goes, "This is like ice cream, right?" I was like, "Yes, it's like ice cream. It's just a little thicker." And she was like, "Okay." But
We
yeah, it was really good.
we had a treat in Canada that I'm gonna try here. I'm gonna try to make it. It was like a lava cake, but they call it score, SKOR, score cake. And it was a chocolate cake with chocolate sauce, toffee and chocolate and whipped cream topping. And it was all warm and it was delicious.
That sounds like a lot of sugar.
We we shared it. Gabrielle ate part, I ate part, but it was good. And
On
they
my new
have
diet, that really scares me.
and they have lots and lots and lots of cows up there. So they make ice cream. They make their own churned ice cream called Cows, COWS, Cows ice cream. And it is like you churned it in an old fashioned churn. It's
Cool.
really good.
Did you have some fresh cheese?
We did have cheese.
Usually, the like when I go visit, well, when I used to go visit Dad up in Maine, um, we would get pizza from this place locally, and it was unlike any other pizza I'd ever had. I couldn't explain it, and I started asking him questions about, where do you, what are you guys doing differently here than you're not doing in the South? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, do you grow your own tomatoes? And she was like, no, we get that in a can and we mix the stuff up. And she goes, we do get our cheeses locally. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, there's a dairy farm near here and they bring us cheeses. So we make the cheeses fresh. And I was like, that's it.
So
That's the
they
difference.
cut the
They
cheese.
cut the cheese. Yeah.
Well, there my friend had a lobster roll
Okay.
because of course they have lots and lots of lobster farms out there that you can see where they fish for these lobsters. I have a shellfish allergy, so I couldn't eat that, but she said it was fabulous. But we did talk to one of the NPs who had treated a guy with a lobster bite. The lobster claw had chopped down on his finger. Anyway, she said that he came in for this lobster bite because it had gotten infected and he needed a return to work. She said she listened to his heart and said, you can't go back to work. You're going to have to see a heart specialist. You're in atrial fib. meaning that his heart wasn't beating like it's supposed to. It was very erratic.
So they book him for 700 days out.
Oh, well, actually, she had connection with somebody and got him in the next week. But in the meantime, she had to put him out of work. When he left, he shot her a bird. He was like, yeah, you won't send me back to work. Here's to you, lady. And so several weeks later, he's on her schedule again. So she said, oh gosh, I was dreading this, dreading this, dreading this. Here comes this guy in. I walk in and he said, the doctor I saw said I should tell you you saved my life. Can I give you a hug? So she went from being shot a bird to getting a hug from a patient, all because she did the right thing. Yeah, but a lobster farmer, they have lots and lots of lobster farmers and lots of mussel farmers and cows, and they are one of the biggest producers of potatoes
on the island.
On the island.
Oh,
potatoes growing everywhere.
Well, it's a lot like Ireland. It's a very moist environment. The climate's cold. Probably the soil composition has got that rock underneath, which makes a dense soil.
And it's got iron deposits. The shirt I've got on is actually stained from the dirt from Prince Edward Island.
You should wash it.
I did wash it.
You said it's stained.
Well, they stained the shirt. They colored it with the dirt from Prince Edward Island. And you have to wash it the first time in salt so it doesn't lose its color. And they actually sent me back with a little packet of dirt. So if it starts getting too light, you just wash it with dirt.
See, all this time when we lived in Georgia, you were like, well, we can't wear those socks anymore.
Yeah, I know that.
You just didn't realize it was a style trend right around the corner.
The clay in Georgia does not wash out of anything. I don't care how much bleach you put on things. You're not getting clay out of anything. Yeah.
And now you're purposely wearing a shirt.
I'm purposely wearing a shirt stained with clay. Well, it's not clay. It's iron deposits.
It's clay.
It's iron.
Same thing.
I'm thinking it's making me Iron Woman.
Can't confirm that. But if it works out, let me know.
I will.
Because that'll be an interesting podcast.
I will.
Start shooting missiles from your arms and.
Well, sometimes I shoot missiles, but not from my arms.
If you get an arch nemesis, then we have a show. Because no good show doesn't have a good arch nemesis.
My arch nemesis is the South Carolina Medical Association.
This is the Stuff I Heard podcast, so we can neither confirm nor deny any of this. This is just rumor and hearsay.
That's right.
You don't even know who I'm talking to. This could be anyone. We didn't say any names. My mother could be your mother, could be anybody's mother. Just a mom in general. Yeah.
Moms in general are always looking out for their children. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah. So anyway, let's wrap this up.
So what have you heard? What have you been watching? What have you been listening to?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I haven't had time. I am too busy. I did watch the Minecraft movie because it's on HBO, and I don't know how long longer I have HBO, but I figured I'd watch it while I was borrowing it from someone else. And
not great.
No.
Oh.
No. But also, I don't play
Something
Minecraft.
Your grandson would like to watch?
I don't, probably. It's terrible. It's pretty terrible. But also, like, if you're in the Minecraft thing, I guess you'd be like, oh, this is so cool. But it's really dumb.
Yeah.
But whatever. Listen, also, I don't want to boo anyone's yay. Like, people enjoy it. Let them enjoy it. It's fine. It's just not for me.
Yeah, Minecraft wouldn't be for me either.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I did watch a cool comedian magician on Netflix. Fun for the family. Very clean.
Who is
really good? I don't know.
How can they watch it if you don't know what his name
they got to
is?
do some research. Listen, this is on you too. You people out there, you three listeners that are out there, you got to check it out for yourself. Just open up Netflix and look at comedian magicians. I don't know. What is his name? Maybe I can Google it because it just recently popped up. It's like, you might also like this guy, and I was like, I don't know. I don't really enjoy watching magicians.
So I'm listening to Leanne's wife of the party, and she's interviewing a comedian, and him and his wife, and it's quite good. I really like Leanne's podcast, Wife of the Party. because she has interesting guests on all the time. So you can't find him? You don't know what his name is? I guess not.
I'm looking.
So while he looks, I'm going to tell you that we both like jokes. And the other day when I called him and he didn't answer the phone when I was in need, when he called me back, he said, "So, Mom, if a tree falls in the forest, do you really hear it fall? Are you bored with your life?"
If you don't like it, you can leave.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you can leave.
Yeah, Justin William, called Magic Lover, is the name of the show, I think.
Huh. But he does
Um,
magic and is a comedian.
yeah, he's funny. His whole
Justin,
yeah,
what's his last name?
Justin William,
William. Okay.
William, Williman. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, it's hard to pronounce. But listen,
Wilman.
his thing starts off and it says, "Okay, so everyone in this room, um, you either like or don't like magic, right?" And he goes, "The people who like magic, let me hear you." And everybody's like, ah. And he goes, "Yeah, listen, I like it. Great, I'm here. I'm here to give you a show." He's like, "And the people who don't like magic, they really don't like magic. You know them. You brought them. They're next to you. Go ahead and clap, guys." And everybody's like, he's like, "Yeah, okay, I get it too." He goes, "Everyone has this thing in their brain where they go, I want to see how the trick is made, but you don't.
Right.
You don't really want to know how the trick is made." He
Right.
goes, "It's kind of like hot dogs. Everyone enjoys hot dogs. Do you want to see how they're
You
made?
know.
No, but you enjoy a hot dog." He goes,
Baloney, same thing.
"Magic is the same way." He goes, "I'll show you with an actual example." This is how he starts the show. He's like, "I'm going to show you an actual example. I'm going to do a trick, and then I'm going to show you how to do the trick. Okay, and you tell me which is better." And then he does this trick where he asks this lady a question about the first boy that she ever dated when she was in high school or whatever, and she tell her first kid she ever fell in love with when she was young, and she tells him a name, and he was like, "Okay," and he has like a little um, chair with a bag on top of it or box on top of it, and he brings it out and he sits it down and he goes, "I'm gonna pull out of this little box a piece of paper," and he pulls it out and it's got the person's name written on it of the boy that she said that she was in love with, but it looked like it was printed off. So the guy's like, "Oh," and he goes, "Now." He goes, and he looks to the guy next to her and he goes, "You're with her?" And he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "So what do you think?" And he goes, "There's a printer in the box." And he goes, "Well, thanks for ruining the magic." And then he pulls the box open and there's a printer sitting there. And he's like,
Ah,
"Okay, so obviously, Bluetooth and whatnot." And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "So do you feel better knowing that or not?" And he was like, "Eh." And he goes, "All right, cool." Then he grabs the printer. This is spoiling it for anybody, but he grabs the printer and it's a piece of paper that he balls up and throws at him. He goes, "Oh, I'm on the show." It's not a printer at all.
it's not a printer?
The show gets better and better as you go. I turned it on as just
Oh,
a something I'm
wow.
going to watch while I'm having my breakfast, and I was like, "This is really good," because he kept doing things, and it was like layered tricks upon with jokes, and it was like, "Wait,
That's
the
cool.
what's happening?" And it's just like it was all good.
That's cool. Did you see it on Netflix?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my thing. You got to watch.
Okay. That sounds good.
Other than that, I've seen a lot of garbage, a lot of hot garbage. Yeah. The Disney has the new Ironheart, which is supposed to be like, um, it's kind of like Iron Man,
Okay.
but it's a young girl named Riri Williams.
Riri?
Riri, yep,
It
she's
sounds
supposed to
like wee
be,
wee.
like just out of high school, super smart, wants to get into building. Her thing is she wants to build like like not drones, but like the Iron Man suits that
Yeah.
are like AI ran to like help people in case of need, like firemen and policemen and stuff like that.
Oh,
She wants to
cool.
build them so that they can be
Safe.
responsive right away. She's
Yeah.
trying to build a safer environment for her environment
Well, that's kind of cool.
because she has a traumatic event where her father figure person, stepfather, and her best friend were gunned down and killed. So this is her thing if she's going to build like a thing to make the world safer. And to do her project, she has to get involved with some nefarious people and rob people to get money to build more AI stuff. I read about this and it's designed to be like the show Breaking Bad. where in the beginning she starts off just trying to do the right thing, but the more she gets involved in it, the more she becomes the bad guy.
Uh-oh.
And weirdly, you root for her.
No.
Yes, that's how the show
No.
is written. That's how the character is
No.
written. She's the character that you're in the beginning. You're like, man, I really hope Breaking Bad was like that.
Yeah.
Walter White gets cancer and he's got a wife and a son and he's got nothing. And he just wants to leave behind a little bit of money for his son because his son's in a wheelchair, and he's trying to do something. And he gets into cooking crystal meth with a guy
Jeez.
to raise some money to at least have some money left behind
Gee.
until the show goes on and he becomes this drug lord who's just like murdering people and all kinds of stuff. And meanwhile, as a viewer of the show, you're still secretly rooting for him, even though he's more and more the bad guy of every episode.
Mm.
That's kind of how Ironheart is written. It's really intelligently written. And there's a lot of people right now poo poo in the show. They're giving it like 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not like anybody cares, but um, yeah, the show's actually decent. There's a lot of room for acting and character development, and the AI for her suit weirdly has a life of its own and somehow becomes a vision of her best friend who got killed.
What?
Yep. So now she's having a conversation with her dead best friend, and the AI is learning how to interact with her the best, and thought that by becoming this person that she could help her understand how to achieve her goals.
Listen, AI is doing all kinds of things. I heard you say that you made a logo with AI one time
Yeah,
for the Jeep,
yeah.
right?
For the Jeep Club,
The Jeep Club.
the
And
Carolina Jeep meeting
yeah,
today at
four
uh,
o'clock,
4 o'clock
4 o'clock
in
in
Hartsville.
Hartsville.
Yeah.
Yeah, but AI is kind of bizarre because it has this learning capability.
Well, sure. Does that mean that our healthcare in the future will be AI?
I think some of it, I have friends that have
I mean, you
been,
talked about Teledoc, which is AI.
right. Well, sort of. I've had friends that have been looking stuff up on AI, and some of it's good information and some of it's a bunch of crap. You just got to be able to know what's good and what's not, because otherwise you get led down this road of a bunch of garbage and it's not true. It's just a bunch of
It
words.
would also be helpful if, because like right now, let's talk about healthcare and AI. It would be helpful if AI truly could learn from itself and share information across the board. And listen, I know that I'm an optimist, and I would like to think that there's a world where none of this is influenced by any pharmaceutical company or someone trying to just make money because they make them run certain tests or give them certain medications. But in the thought of being a pure AI, let's treat healthcare kind of situation, it does take out the element of mistakes that humans can make sometimes.
Right, right.
It does take out the element of I've prescribed this medicine before and I forgot to follow up and find out if something happened. You know what I mean? It takes out a lot of the human error element.
No, I,
But
I agree with that. But if you look at AI, if you look at reputable sources like Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, places like that, they have AI that people can go in and look at their symptoms and try to come up with a diagnosis. But you have to be able to know whether or not it's reputable or not. Like that, I have students that will sometimes try to use AI, and it's garbage because they're just giving you facts that aren't linked with anything.
they're copying and pasting instead of
Yeah,
using
yeah,
it as a. So I've used AI as a source for creating things at work where I look at it as an outline.
right.
Here's a decent structure of what I want to say,
Well, it can help
but
creativity.
I want to change the way, like this does help me get an idea of where to start.
Right.
Like that's how I'm looking at it is,
Well, then you
I need
make
somewhere
it
to start.
personable.
Yeah.
You take an idea or an outline and then you make it personable.
Yeah.
But you've got to add that personal element to
Right.
it. AI doesn't know you, doesn't know me, but if you start with a basic outline with AI, then take and add personable things, then it's good use of AI.
And if you're doing that as a student learning a thing, then
Yeah,
you're still learning because you're maybe learning something you hadn't thought of that AI might point out. Or you may read it and go, well, this is not what I intended. There's some parts in here I want to change, but it gives me a structure of what I want to
right.
do.
Right.
I think if anything else, like for students, it should function as a structure of an outline to kind of point you in the right direction.
Well, last year I did a research project with students. I had them do all of their own work. And then at the end, they had to email me that they were willing to participate in this research. And I got it approved through the IRB approval process at Francis Marion. And then I would give them, I'd say, take that same research question that you just turned in and got a grade for, and let AI produce something with the same stipulations in it. And then I want you to tell me which was better, your paper or their paper. And hands down, every student said their paper was actually better
Mm.
because they did their own research. And so they had facts that AI didn't have. They had reputable sources, which AI didn't have. But again, getting students to understand that there's a good use of AI and then there's a bad use of AI.
But I still think there's going to be a future where we, like a
100%.
teledoc, may have a port that connects to our USB or USB-C or whatever it is, where you take your temperature, do your blood pressure. Here's
100%.
my information. I'm not feeling well. What could it possibly be? And maybe have a bioscan using the camera.
Yep.
And then they go, this is what we think. Now let's point you in the right direction of how to get the information you need. Or if it's a simple thing like, oh, all you need is a little bit of medicine, we'll go ahead and just prescribe this medicine. Um, I think that part could streamline it and take a lot of people out of the urgent care and a lot of people out of the flooding up the waiting rooms of places where maybe people who really need to care can go. Um, I think the future of it is going to be that.
100%. I think it could be used for a lot of
And then for
preliminary
everyone, they
screens.
have to sign a document that an MD says, "Yep, that sounds good to me," and then he gets another that MD gets another
Consultation
cash
fee.
cow situation.
Consultation fee.
Mm.
Yeah, then there's that.
Because some bureaucrat's going to sign off on it saying they absolutely should be doing that. We can't leave this in the hands of computers. I don't even know how to turn mine on. That's a real conversation.
I
Yeah.
know it is. It
Yeah.
is for sure. But yeah, I think the use of AI is coming even more when things get better. And 10 years from now, things will be even better for
Is it
people.
weird that I can automatically envision this in Congress where someone's going to go, this is run by Chinese. They're just trying to look at your face and try to find out your information. And why has it got to look at my face? Doesn't it know that it's me? I logged in as me. Just the dumbest conversations I can picture happening.
I know.
Well, Einstein said it best. Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not so sure about the universe.
Well, there's many
Oh,
universes out
absolutely.
there. Many.
Absolutely.
Hey, did you see the new scans of all the galaxies that they found?
No.
Galaxies and galaxies of galaxies. Oh my gosh. I saw it while I was in Canada. It was on interesting enough a Boston network, but it was how this telescope had picked up all of these additional galaxies we had no idea about.
Well, and
So
also there is the idea that there's interdimensional life happening right now with multiple versions of us.
yeah, I have difficulty
Listen,
with that.
I have a dream, a repetitive dream where I can prove this. Yep, you heard it here first on the Stuff I Heard podcast. I have a dream.
Do you hear voices? Do
Well,
you see things other
so
people don't see?
it kind of so part of it is the idea of ghosts could be the resonance of another life and another version of life in which that person is still there. But also, I have a dream that repeats itself all the time. Where in my dream I am going through boot camp a second time, and I'm really mad about it.
Oh,
And
I can see
I
why.
and I question all the time, why did I go back into boot camp to do this a second time? Because I'd already been through this and now I have to do it all over again. And I have this whole little life in this dream that keeps going on, that continues as I dream, where in each version of it, it is the constant memory of this thing that never happened. But I wake up and it's so real that for hours,
Wow.
all I can think of is, why did I decide to do that again? Did I really do that again? There's
Wow.
no way I did that again. And if it were one dream, that'd be different. If it was five dreams, that would be different. It's like 40 or 50 dreams now that keep continuing this other life
Maybe
that
you
I'm
want to go
dreaming.
back and fix things in your mind. You want to go
No,
back and make things better.
no,
No?
no. I
You're just living it again.
am just living it again, literally living it again.
Wow.
Yeah, as a real life and as a
Maybe it
real
was all
memory.
those injections they put into you in the Marine Corps.
Part of that contract means they can do whatever they want to you. And
That chip they put inside your
I
brain.
am learning that that is part of their drug trial situation with a lot of things. Is that part of the agreement of you signing up for the military? Is they're going to try things because you're healthy, and why not? And the only way they can do it is human trial. And you signed up to be part of the service, so part of your contract says that they can experiment on you with different things.
Don't you remember when your brother was in college and he signed up for a clinical trial? And I said, well, what are they going to do? Well, I don't know. I said, you signed up for a clinical trial. You don't know what they're doing to you? He said, well, I'll find out. I said, well, call me before you do it, before you actually agree to it. So they took an MRI of his brain
Mm-hmm.
and they told him to tell the truth about something. So he did. Then they took another MRI of his brain with him telling a lie and scanned his brain again and gave him $100. I said, well, that was fine. At least they didn't put anything inside of you. And he said, yeah, he got $100. Well, then they came out with an article that you can actually tell when somebody's lying on an MRI scan because a different part of your brain lights up.
Okay.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
But same dream.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one of the repeating dreams.
Wow.
I have multiple, but I don't know. So I worry that, or not worry, but I think that some people listen more. Some people just breathe, right?
Yeah.
Some people just they're here, they breathe,
Yeah.
go to the NASCAR game or NASCAR thing and turn left, woo. That's their life. Okay.
Okay.
Not saying that all NASCAR people are woo people, but let's just say it is. Okay. Some people have a path of destruction, or all they want to do is hurt or be hurt. That's just their path for whatever reason. Maybe they've seen too much PTSD, whatever. That's their path. Some people just are the light of the world, like Mr. Rogers. Like,
Oh yeah.
just I want to make the world better all the time, and any way I can.
Betty White.
Yeah, just any way I can. I'm going to help the world be better. And then you have a bunch of people in the middle. They're just kind of mucking through it, right? Trying to make the best that they know about it. And there's some people that just listen to things a little too much and try to understand things on a level that is not technically healthy. And I don't know. I think I'm one of those people. I think I'm always looking for I guess in survivalism of human race, it is natural for you to constantly wonder about when the wolves are going to come and eat your villagers and how do I stay on alert and how do I take care of those people. And I think that's part of it. But also, like, I've noticed a lot of people that also do the same thing tend to gather in the military together because they all have that brain of going, but I want to protect mine and I want to protect ours and I want to make sure that I'm vigilant and whatever. And that brain doesn't shut off. Like
Yeah.
that brain just keeps looking out for danger. Like I have a group that I work with that when they sit in the lunchroom, they always put their back to the wall and they want to watch the exits. They want to make sure everybody's where they need to be.
Well, I do that because having worked in a men's maximum security prison,
Yeah.
you need to know the exit.
Right.
And I still don't like people walking up behind me because
Yeah.
of that.
Well, and
I've
there's
got a little
certain ones.
post-traumatic stress from that.
Anytime I eat lunch around these guys, I sit. If I notice they're one way, I'll face the other way because
Yeah.
I'm going. You're going to watch this way, and I'm going to watch that way, and we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just like that thing of going, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? So I work with a guy who told me, I mean, I made a comment to him about when things go crazy, here's the people that are going to be your firemen. They're going to put out fires like nobody's business. And he said, what I don't want is I don't want just a bunch of firemen. I want people who are going to be Smokey the Bear because
Yeah.
only you can prevent forest fires.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm your forest fire guy. I'm your Smokey the Bear, but I'm going to make you crazy and me crazy with thinking about all the scenarios of things that can go wrong. And when I come to you and say, I need your help with something, it's because there's a fire coming.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I can work with that. And I hadn't realized that until that moment, until that conversation. But, you know, trying to think about how all this goes together and people are supposed to work together and that sort of thing. It also makes it so that I can't just enjoy simple things like fireworks
Yeah.
to bring it full circle.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It seems
I look
wasteful.
for things. I look for things to keep my brain and my hands busy, like Legos and a podcast and building crap out of wood and Jeeps and you could just put the and on the end of it. I
Yeah.
mean, Dan's the same way.
Yeah.
Dan, you know, most of our favorite people are like that.
Cannot sit still.
Cannot stop. You can't
Cannot.
stop.
I can't stop.
Right. But it's that thing of if I'm not doing it, it's not getting done and I got to do it. And if I don't do it, then what am I going to do? Because this is the thing I do.
Well, and if you're not at the table, you're on somebody's menu. I mean, let's face it. And
but we're missing out on, I think we're missing out on so much of life.
I don't think we're missing out on
I think
anything.
we're missing out on the joy.
I have lots of joy.
I think we take joy in service and in works and in helping, but I don't think that we enjoy the simple joys that we're supposed to enjoy.
I enjoy being with my family. I enjoy spending time watching the children laugh. I enjoy watching flowers grow and making flowers grow. I enjoy reading a good book. I enjoy watching a good movie. I enjoy lots of stuff. But I do think that we're created to be on this earth to make things better.
Right.
And if I don't do my part, then I will not have succeeded in this life.
And see, my thing is always not just the how do I do this, but I think my brain is turned to how can I help other people do this, to asking in the quiet moments, asking, well, why does this all happen and how does it go together? And
see,
what's the thing I'm not thinking of?
That's why you teach. That's why I teach.
Right.
Because both of us, as teachers, both of us want to make things better for those people and want to teach them how they can do it without being stressed and how to have a better life.
Yeah.
And just have a conversation with people and be a part of their reality for whatever purpose that God has put them in our lives, to take that time to understand who they are and what their needs are.
But also, does that Josh that's gone to the Marine Corps twice on a Jeep? I mean, he should get one. It's pretty cool. And then go to the mountains with your buddy Danny and find a trail where all of a sudden you come around the corner and there's a beautiful skyline of rolling mountains and a nice cool breeze from the mountain air.
Or go to Disney and watch your mother on a motorcycle go from 0 to 60 in a matter of seconds.
Go to Disney with your family and watch them turn into 10-year-olds all of a sudden. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm hoping that version of Josh gets to enjoy a little bit of something.
I know.
You know,
got to do that kind of stuff more often for sure.
Yeah. We can still go to Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Yeah.
Got to learn some Japanese.
You don't. It's all in English too.
That and take a Disney cruise over to Tokyo.
The hardest part of it is just the money to get there. I mean, the rest of it's easy because there's all kinds of stuff online to do the stuff. But
yeah,
you know, it's not exactly like next door. So it is the whole flight thing.
Well, then you got to brush up on your French because we got to go to France and see Disney World in France.
English. They have a lot of stuff in English.
You're supposed to know French. You took 2 years of French.
Doesn't matter. My buddy Jan has been around the world many times, and he says English is the language of money. So everyone learns English also.
Okay, all right. If we're in Japan, in Tokyo, and you cannot get me to a bathroom in time,
I have Google Translate. So do you.
So do I. So
you just say in Japanese, I need a bathroom.
All right, it's a deal.
Yeah,
it's a deal. Now we got to get enough money.
Cool. My phone is lighting up.
Toyota, Tokyo, here we come.
With all kinds of stuff. Anyway,
all right.
Thanks everybody for listening. I appreciate it. Share this with your friends, your family, your coworkers, your whoever you think might enjoy it. And give us a thumbs up. And as always, you want to say it?
Cue the cow, baby.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.